3, 2. Okay, I think we're live. Let's yeah, it says we're live, which is a good sign. I'm just going to check into the group really quickly because this is a new system that I'm using, just to check that it's actually showing up on our page. Yay, there we are, fantastic. Right, so morning everybody. If you're logging in and joining us, that would be amazing. What I decided to do shortly after setting up our Altered Life page was do interviews 1 a month with different parents, because I think it's really, really important not just to be banging on about my life and sharing my life. I think social media is a brilliant platform for helping each other. So what I did, I spoke to or reached out into our Altered Life page, spoke to a few parents and said, would you like to share your journey? And Valerie's the first one to say, yes, please, I will, which is fantastic news because I know she's got a brilliant story. So I just want to say a massive thank you, first of all, Valerie, for coming on. I know it's a bit out of your comfort zone, but the aim of this is just to share your story and raise a little bit of awareness about what's going on for you. So just first of all, tell me who's in your family. Who makes up Valerie's family?
There's myself, obviously, my husband John, our oldest Caden, who's 8, and our 3-year-old Cody. Okay,
so there's the 4 of you.
Yep.
Brilliant. And you've got an altered life, similar to me, but different in other ways. So what is it that you're living with at the moment, Valerie, your family?
Last September, Caden got diagnosed with juvenile Batten Disease.
Okay.
So just now it's his visual impairment that started things rolling with this and how we found out. Okay. And it just goes from there, kind of thing. It's hard to put into one wee.
Yeah, I'm sure. So Batten disease. So how old is he now? Just remind us of how old. So he's 8 now?
He's 8. He was 7 when diagnosed.
Okay. And is that something that suddenly came on him at the age of 7, or is it something that he was born with that showed symptoms of later on?
It was something he was born with, but we had no signs up until we started having problems with his vision, just thinking that he needed glasses. We were back and forth to Tesco's opticians, Specsavers opticians, several times, just knowing he wouldn't keep glasses on. And he kept saying wee things like he couldn't see, but he wouldn't tell us how much. He could see, he couldn't see. I don't think he quite understood himself. But also things like going backwards. Oh dear. Oh, do you want to go and get Daddy? Do you want to go and get Daddy just now? Good boy. You go through. You go through just now.
What's that?
And then here we go.
The joys of the kids of life.
Yeah, that's Mummy's one, but I need you to go through. Sorry, 2 seconds.
All right. This is the joys of live streaming when you've got a family. If you're enjoying Valerie's story, what I will say is give us some likes, give us some hearts, send us some love. I can't quite see what's going on Facebook on this platform that I'm using. But if you're enjoying the story, and she's incredibly brave for sharing it, so make sure that you're giving her plenty of hearts. You can tap at the bottom there, hearts and likes as well. So make sure that you're giving her plenty of hearts and likes as she's sharing her journey with us, because it is quite nerve-wracking. I do a lot of Facebook Lives as part of my network marketing job, so I'm kind of used to this, and I think the teacher in me is used to talking to people a lot, so this is new for a lot of parents, so give her plenty of hearts and likes as well.
Oh, hi, sorry.
Okay.
Back again.
That's all right. Back in the room?
Yes.
So at what point did you realise this was more than just, a job for an optician? So at what point did you think we need to investigate this a bit further?
His behaviour changed a lot in
Why?
P2. He was hitting out at people that were his friends, his attitude, he just seemed constant. And it's hard to explain, but I remember speaking to one of the other mums she went through a lot of battling to get her son diagnosed, but she knew something was there. And I remember her saying to me, stick to your guts. If you feel something's not right, keep getting it looked at. He would talk to strangers on buses about the excitement of getting a bus pass, where he stayed. he'd suddenly remember everything in that moment of conversation with someone else. But when I needed him to remember that information, and when I asked him, he just wouldn't tell me and stuff. And it was just, I don't know, just simple things. When he got the glasses, he'd go telling everyone, I've got glasses. And I know he was young, so it was something different. It was an excitement for him. But that, a bus pass, and it didn't matter how many times you were like, right, darling, right, you need to, I don't mind you talking, because he used to always go, but you talk to people on the bus and things. So trying to explain to him, though, that mummy knows how much she's saying. She knows when to stop. I'm not going to tell them all where I live, and do you know who I'm always with and stuff. So it was just between the behaviour and like he just constantly wanted my attention, and the minute you let go, and do you know, even before we had Cody, but it wasn't so big then. It was just roundabout between the glasses and the behaviour, and I think the two of them together, it was just weird. And his teacher had said that she felt if Caden could have her all to himself, then he would interrupt just to let her know of things that were important to him, but not necessarily like vital at that moment in time during class.
So, and I think that the message for what I'm hearing there is really trusting your gut instinct, because that probably describes a lot of children. As a teacher, I know I've got children in classes that I've taught before that might demonstrate that kind of behaviour, but for Caden it was the change, wasn't it, from the whole change in his personality. And I think as mums, and possibly dads as well, but I hear this a lot from mums, it's about trusting that gut feeling, like your friend said, that something's not quite right. So what did the doctors say when you went to the doctors? Because as I say, that sounds like a lot of typical children. So were they supportive, or were they a little bit dismissive?
The doctors, every time I went to the doctors, it was always a typical he's a typical 6-year-old. And again, trying to get over to them, I get that it probably is a typical 6-year-old, but there was just something else with his behaviour, the way he would get excited over certain things, do you know, and just the way he would stick to telling everyone where we stayed, and just his behaviour.
So that whole sort of inappropriate.
We were back and forth a few times before. I said, is there someone else I can see, or something, just a wee assessment or something that you can do? And then he did start showing signs, you know, with interrupting as well. Which again, kids, when they want to talk and two adults are talking, you'll either choose to go, not just now, or whereas Caden wouldn't quite understand that, not just now. You'd say, right, in a second, darling, but he'd still keep rolling. And it was constant. It didn't matter how many times you took your time to say, right, and then you'd let him have his say. And again, it would be something important to him, but we'd be sitting there like, you had to tell us that just now? Do you know, which must be horrible, but at the same time, you're just like, I don't get it. So
so what was the point where you got your diagnosis then? Because you're clearly going back to the doctors, to-ing and fro-ing, feeling frustrated because you're not really getting anywhere. So how did you make that move to actually having somebody listen to you and say, yes, let's do some tests, or whatever it is that they did?
I went back to Specsavers again. This was like my third time, and I said, look, we've been here back and forth again. You probably recognise our faces. He just will not keep the glasses on. If he needed them, I feel he would have kept them on. I was like, he's excited about having them. Yous are saying he needs them. Yous are saying his strength is right, but he just won't keep them on. He's still struggling. It was like he was guessing. He knew his colours. He was the top in his reading, but suddenly he was struggling with the words like and. He was turning the lights on. When someone was pointing out a colour, it was like he was just guessing. And I was just like, right. So I says to them, is there something else you can do? The way you do the tests in Specsavers just didn't seem to be working for him. And got us an appointment for the eye pavilion, and it was then within 10 minutes after that appointment, she said, yeah, he can't see out his right eye, and if he can, it's slight and it'll be very blurry. She says if a newborn baby would keep glasses on if they were helping.
Yeah. Okay.
And it just kind of, went from there.
Right. So did the doctors listen to you more once you'd got that kind of evidence behind you then?
Yes, because then she'd done the samples herself just to test it, where she asked him to put a bit of tissue in the bucket, and he got confused. He confused the bucket with, I don't know what it was. There was something else on the right, though. And he thought it was the same shape, and he thought that was the bucket.
Right.
And it wasn't the bucket. And she says, no, darling, turn to your left. It's just beside the sink. And he put it in. So that was then. And then just watching him from there, it was just like it all made sense.
Right. And then to get the diagnosis, was it blood tests? What did they have to do to give you the diagnosis?
For the diagnosis, it was a few trips back and forth from the eye pavilion. Then we got sent to the Children's Hospital in Glasgow. They'd done further tests. Okay. I can't remember the name of it, but it's where they stick all the bits to his head, and it was to see what the connection was between his eyes and his brain. And how much information he was getting from that. Then me and John gave our blood tests, and then they got one from Caden after that, which then gave them the juvenile disease. But it did take a wee while because it had to get sent to Great Ormond Street Hospital for them to do the test there. So.
Wow. So, and I'm guessing you'd never heard of juvenile Batten disease before this?
Hadn't
no,
heard
certainly something I'd never heard of before. Yeah. Okay. And how common is it? Do you know sort of how many children are affected?
Roughly 200 in the UK.
Wow. So really rare.
Yeah. And there's probably a lot of people that don't even know they have it due to certain points of it, and if they're not getting the bloods done, then there's a lot of people that have epilepsy or take seizures, or if they don't speak, then or maybe looking at autism or just delayed speech. So I think there's probably going to be a few that don't even know.
And that's why things like this are so important, isn't it, really? Just so that you can be explaining what it is. Later on, we'll talk a little bit about the sort of symptoms and the signs to be looking out for and things like that, just so that we can be raising a little bit of awareness. Yeah. Now, you said that you and your husband gave bloods as well. Why was it important that you guys gave bloods as well as Caden? Why was that important?
It's because it's a genetic condition. So it's me and John have passed on a faulty gene each, which has resulted in Caden's condition.
Okay, and how was that for you, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a lot of emotions at the time, because also at that time I was pregnant, and again that was the reason it got pushed even more, because I had Cody. We didn't know if Cody would have it, and she did say it seemed like it was a neurological condition, just the way we were explaining things. So me and John are basically carriers, but the chance of it affecting each pregnancy can be a hit and a miss.
So Cody isn't affected at all?
Cody's not affected. He has one part of the gene instead of the two, like what Caden has. So he's a carrier like ourselves and could get it checked later on in life. And
was there, I know for me certainly, I went through a bit of a roller coaster with my son of feeling angry at whoever, the universe, God, fate, feeling that sort of anger, and then that why us, and then that sadness. And so did you have those similar feelings as well? Was that sort of a roller coaster for you?
Wow, I had it. Yeah, had it all. I still have days because it's still relatively new, and you can't see Caden's full condition just now. So again, that's hard. you know it. So we're trying to just deal with the visual impairment side of things just now, but we do have to plan and prepare for the things that are still yet to come and happen. But yeah, I went through it all. Plus, like I said, I was pregnant. So again, that put added stress on us. I didn't know what I was doing, what we were going to do. And then I knew if I had to make that choice, where it comes down to, do we choose to keep this going and try and deal with it all? But we still didn't know about Cody. And as much as I knew I was pregnant, it was Cody, because Cody was here, but they seemed focused on the pregnancy. It was more because you've only got so much time before you can make that decision, as hard as it is. That's why they wanted to push the process as well, even faster. Right.
Wow, so you've got a lot going on. Not only have you had the diagnosis for the son that you've got already, that you've been battling with the changes and battling for somebody to listen to you. So you finally got your diagnosis at the same time as being pregnant and having all the natural hormones and the feelings of pregnancy, which is tough enough sometimes. Yeah. And then you've got other decisions to consider because of it, being a genetic issue. So that's a massive trauma for you.
Yeah, I was in a hospital as well when we got Caden's diagnosis because I had hyperemesis. So I just couldn't keep anything down. I was sick from morning to night, which isn't me. People know I love my food and stuff. So yeah, that was hard as well. I just didn't feel like me.
Yeah. And so now, sort of moving forward a little bit closer to where we are now, how does the Batten disease affect your life? What sort of changes are you having to make now to sort of incorporate it in your life?
We were also in temporary accommodation. When we were battling for Caden's, when we knew something was going on, we were in temporary accommodation, 16 months all in. We're now in our house. That's great. So it's open plan just now. It is only 2 bedrooms, but we are having to, me and John, sacrifice moving into the living room and having a sofa bed so that the boys can have their own space. Caden's constant with the visual impairment. He's very clever, as you'll see on my videos and my pictures in my page. Yeah. I am so proud of how he gets on day to day. And that's what upsets me the most, because I kind of stand back and just watch him from the out, looking in, and thinking, if that was me, how would that? And I've tried it. I've put scarves over my eyes to try and do puzzles, to try and find my way around houses. It's hard. And he runs, he doesn't walk. So yeah,
how much vision does he have, Valerie?
He has 0.5 over 60, which is half a metre. And he's only got his peripheral vision, so he'll turn to the side a lot. He doesn't have his central. So yeah, it's not much. And again, we try and ask him how much he can see, how much he can't, but I don't think he fully understands. Yeah. So yeah.
And do you think he can you remember having full vision, or do you think this is just life for him? Is this something that he just gets on with because he doesn't remember any difference, so he's just getting on with it?
Due to the visual impairment, they do say they base everything on their memory. His long-term memory is fantastic. What he can do. We're a wrestling family. He loves wrestling, and he remembers majority of the tunes, all the tunes, because that's how he started with the wrestling, was the tunes. But just where he's going and stuff, it's all based on memory, which again I find hard, because I was so used to this boy that had his vision, and now I've got Cody who also has his vision. So when I'm trying to guide him, which he doesn't want me to half the time, the visual impairment, I'd say that's my big struggle just now, but I know it's going to get harder.
So when you say it's going to get harder, what can you expect? I know this sounds a little bit negative. I know it's hard when you're thinking, you try and stay very, very positive in a situation like yours day to day. But kind of looking forward at what could happen? What are the options in terms of deterioration?
So basically, the way I put it in my head is everything I've taught him in the stage that he got to, he then just goes back. Again, he loses it all. So we taught him to walk, he'll lose that. Obviously, he had his vision, he's losing that. He'll loss of speech, loss of memory. But the behaviour changes, which we're experiencing already, and then eventually will be in a wheelchair. He may need a feeding tube. He will have difficulties with eating. So yeah, it's.
And does it? This is a really tough question. I'm sorry to ask. Does it affect his life expectancy?
They say it could be anything from early 20s to 30s. It's they can't be exact, but most cases they say round about their 20s.
Right. Okay.
Or for Caden's one.
Right. Okay. But I guess every case is different, isn't it? And they might say that we hear so many stories of people that were given, you know, sort of. I know Stephen Hawkins is a really good example, just because I watched his programme. He was given sort of 2 years to live, and decades later he's still here. So you do have that hope, I guess, but also it must be awful to live with that over your head all the time. Do you just kind of put that to the back of your mind and get on with things day to day?
I try, for the most of it, but then it can take a time hop picture or something coming up, do you know, on how it used to be. And I know he's a happy boy. Again, like with Harry and stuff, they're always so happy. And they said that to me, he'll always be happy. As much as he'll get frustrated at times and he's lashing out, that's just for that moment. So he is quite a happy boy and stuff, but I do tend to still beat myself up a lot. Sorry.
That's okay.
I
think that's a natural part, isn't it? It is a natural, because, you know, as the mum, you're the person that's there to protect them and bring them through it all. And so it is hard when you're faced with decisions and situations like you are, like I am. It's tough. I know that. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's the thinking of how it could be, how it is now, how would it be? Do you know, the fact that Cody's going to go exceed past him, he's going to do things that we hoped for them, do you know, and he's my first baby, so, do you know, and again, it's you take a lot of these things for granted until, do you know, and then it's simple things like because he talks, he constantly asks questions. It's not about what you have to say to him, you just let him kind of talk. But when it comes to me and John trying to get a conversation, and he's still going on about wrestling and whatever happened on something, and where he's going, and then you're like, right, Caden, stop. Do you know, there's that instant and you're like, oh, right, okay, remember. And you've got to kind of bring yourself back and say to yourself, not how it would be, do you know, how much he can understand, how much he can't. It's that hitting him. He looks like an 8-year-old boy, but we've been told he's probably on the same level as Cody. So it's taking away looking at an 8-year-old and then trying to put
where he is in his world. I get that. And then what about advice to somebody in your position? So you struggle to get the diagnosis. I'll ask a different question. What would you say to parents in terms of keeping their eyes open for this kind of syndrome? If people are concerned, do they get their own bloods tested to see if they carry the genes, or do they just ask for a blood test? Or what would you recommend people keep their eyes open for? Sorry, that's loads of questions.
That's hard, but I just feel like I'd said near the beginning, if you feel something's not right, get checked if you think it could be something. But I know we can all be bad for you. Get something or you see something and the first thing we do is head to Google, do you know, which I still do it, but it's not always the best, do you know, just get as much help, do you know, getting as much help as possible. We've had lots of help, which I know a lot of families in through the Batten Disease Family Association and stuff. I know it's not always the case. England laws and our laws are a wee bit different on certain things and stuff, but it's just fight, put your foot down. It took us a while again to accept a lot of help. I'm not used to, and John's not used to, typical male. He's got his pride and stuff, but we do need it, and we had to say we couldn't cope.
Okay. And so where did you go for help? If somebody's watching this and they've either been diagnosed or they, you know, at some point they end up being diagnosed, or the children do, or they know somebody, where would you tell them to go for help and support? What websites or what services can they access?
The Batten Disease Family Association are the first ones that we were appointed to, which was great, and they're great. There's a lot of the staff there, they all know, they've all been working with different types of Batten disease for many years now. We got a social worker, and that's been great. That opened a lot of doors. Even just speaking to the school, I know it's not the case for a lot of schools. Some can be funny with certain things, but our Caden's school was fantastic. They tried everything and they just made it all about him, what he could do, what he could cope with. Still kept him in his class. His class are brilliant with him. But doctors, the eye pavilion, do you know, everyone that was there from that circle when he got his diagnosis is everyone that we still use on day to day, and that, I mean, we're still getting told, oh, try here and go there, and so it's overwhelming. It's a lot to take in. Yeah.
And what about you? I know you've got a page for Caden. So what's that page called on Facebook so people can connect with that?
It's Caden's Batten Journey. He's got his own Facebook page, which has him in the Never Give Up John Cena wrestling gear. But there's also a community page which has a picture of him, slightly different, but it's still Caden's Batten Journey. And that's a public one, so that we post certain things.
So people follow your journey and get in touch with you if they need to.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got Lindsay Hale says, "Stay strong, lovely. You've already come so far. You'll have good and bad times, but we are here to support you."
Yeah.
So that's a lovely message.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's a lovely message.
It is.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's true. You know, there is days I feel I'm fine. I'll just get on with it. It's fun. You know. But then there is the hard times, there is the stresses where an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old are not seeing eye to eye. They constantly, you know, they're on different levels as much as there's that gap as well. So yeah, and Caden does take a lot of energy, and he is similar to yourself, 2 to 1. Do you know, it takes 2 of us to go out and do stuff with him, and there is days I feel brave and I'll go out the back and we'll play football, but no doubt Cody's running round the block, or he wants to go and do something else, so you have to stop every 5 minutes just to go run and grab Cody, but it keeps us going, I suppose.
And I guess it's just about keeping life as normal as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just take the
Brilliant.
now.
Well, live
deal
now.
with the rest when it comes, kind of thing. But no, it's there.
Yeah. Well, I know you've got a very busy day today, which is why we've done the interview earlier. So I will let you get on with the rest of your weekend with your gorgeous family. Thank you so much for talking with me and for sharing. I think it's really brave, you know, and hopefully somebody will see and it will help them, and we can just help to raise a little bit of awareness, get some people on your page, get people, you know, a bit of extra support for you guys as well. And I think you're just a really good example of another altered life and the impact of it. But you know, we're still smiling, we're still here, we're still there for our children. So
definitely.
Thank you so much. Okay, have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It'll let me end. Let's try again.